Alrighty, so okay, that's just a little quick mix here. Alrighty, so I am here to tell you about my live DJ streaming setup. This is also just my regular DJ, setup as well. But I'm here to just let you know about the hardware and the software I am going to be using to do this. How am I going to achieve this? So let me just go through everything. So right now, the command center of everything is the Tractor Control S8. I know what you're thinking, like, wow, this is a really old device. Yes, it's between 10 and 14 years old. But when I bought this device, I was able to find one locally here at the Guitar Center. So it was right up the road. Got it for about 400, 450. Brought it home. At that time, Tractor 3 was still available. Plugged it up. Tractor 3 recognized it. When Tractor had an upgrade to Tractor 4, it worked completely flawlessly. So this is what I have. This is a modular DJing. So, no jog wheels. Everything is synced up. So keep that in mind, right? Okay, and now the turntables are the Reloop RP7000 MK2s. I really like these turntables. The only thing I may not like about the turntables are they have a line preamp in them. And I think with DJ turntables, why are we still doing line preamps and DJ turntables? It's bad enough that we have a digital pitch. So now we need a line preamp in a turntable. So I don't really like that. So I think I'm gonna trade these in and maybe look at the, Pioneer PLX 1000 turntables, or maybe the Technic 1200s. I don't know the G7s. I don't know which version is out. That has a digital pitch too. So we will see. So that's the hardware right here. Now let me tell you about the speakers. Right back here are the KRK Rocket 8s G5, so fifth generation. They sound really good. I think with the G5s, with the Rocket G5s, KRK did a really good sound of like a really good job of sort of perfecting the sound, right? Because previously with other generations, you had too much bass; it was too bassy. And so each generation, they just made the Rocket better. And I think the G5s is probably thus far, the best model out. So I really like those. You can't see these speakers right here, but these are desktop monitors. These are Adam Audio D3V desktop monitors. I love these things. A review is coming pretty soon with those as well. Pretty impressed with those. They sound really good for the size. I'm just like, wow, these joints sound really good. And so that's everything right there. Um, and let me just tell you about the whole DJ setup in terms of what I'll be doing, right? So right now everything is digital, right? So I'll be doing a lot of digital DJing with Tractor. That's what I use, Tractor. But eventually I will replace the whole digital setup with an analog setup. So I ordered a an Eckler Warm 4 rotary DJ mixer. Once that's here, I will replace the digital setup with the analog setup and mostly doing vinyl. So we will see. Um, and so now let me tell you about the cameras and everything that I have popping. If you look right here, here is another shot right here. So that camera is just the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And I'm just using continuity camera and, like my Apple MacBook Pro M1 can basically pick it up. And then the main camera is a Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, and the lens is a Sigma 16 milli f1.4. So I really like that. So that's pretty cool. And I'm just using right now the Rode Video Mic NTG, and I have that connected to some software. And I'm going to talk to you about the software shortly. Okay, so that's how everything is popping right here. So let me tell you about the software I'm using because I got to get this stuff out of here, into here, and then onto a streaming platform. So the software I'm using is Ecamm Live. I love this software. I've been using it for about 5 years. And so I have the Tractor S8 obviously connected via USB to my M1, right? And so once I, turn on Ecamm Live, it recognizes it as a device, right? In the beginning, it did not, right? So, but it does now just recognize the S8 as a device, right? So that's pretty cool. So I don't need all of this other stuff that a lot of YouTubers have been speaking about. If you go on YouTube and find out, how do you live stream a DJ set, they'll give you a whole bunch of like, different sort of ways to do this. The most I guess the way that I've been hearing a lot is to so you have your DJ controller, your DJ mixer. Generally is an audio device, right? It's an audio interface generally, right? And so now that you have an audio device on your DJ mixer or your DJ controller, a lot of these YouTubers are saying now you need an additional audio interface or a mixer to then bring that into your software. And I'm just like, no, why would I do that? I'm a Mac guy. Apple should have a way to do this, and they do. So if you go into the Apple Audio MIDI utility, you can then set up an aggregate device, right? And once you set up that aggregate device, you can start adding external devices to it. Like, so I created an aggregate device and I added the S8 to it. The reason why I did that is because if I'm just using the S8 as a audio interface all on its own, it sounds a little different. There's a lot of popping, a lot of dropping, and I was just like, something's going on here. So when I created the aggregate device and added the S8 to it, I think this signal is coming in a lot cleaner. Now, this whole setup is a work in progress. I think I have most of it down. As you can see, I have like cable clips down here, cable clips under here. I was like really like I was putting this together for like about over 2 weeks because I was doing things and I was like, oh, I need to get this. And so a lot of these purchases were really like light. The cable clips were like $10. I bought some other cable clips for another $10. I needed some more cables and, all that stuff. It was pretty simple. However, now let me tell you how I'm streaming from the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. So there are two ways you can do this with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. You can obviously connect a micro HDMI cord to the camera and then, um, use a capture card like an Elgato Camlink 4K. That works flawlessly. However, the camera, the cam link, the capture card does get a little hot. And when that gets hot, the camera starts to get hot and then it starts to turn off. So I was just like, I can't use that. Another way you can do this with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is to just use a super fast charging USB-C cable or a Thunderbolt cable. So I went out and got a Thunderbolt cable, and let me just tell you, right? So because I, spent $1,400 on this camera, the camera body and the lens, I'm like, that's a really huge purchase. So I want to make sure that I'm protecting that, and I'm not just using any sort of janky Thunderbolt or super fast charging USB-C cable. So I was like, let me see if Apple has one. Apple does have a USB-C cable, or I should say a Thunderbolt cable. They have Thunderbolt 4 and 5. So I was like, I know Apple. I have all of my, devices are Apple. So I was like, well, let me see what it costs, right? I needed a pretty long cable too, like maybe 10 feet. So they had a 10 footer, in a Thunderbolt 4. So um, so I was like, okay, well, you know what? I know this is Apple. I know it's going to be quality. I know there aren't going to be any drops and like speeds and everything else. So when I went to take a look at it, the 10 footer was $170 for a piece of cable, for a cable, right? And I know what you're thinking, like, well, why, wow, that's a lot of money. I did buy it too. Here it is right here. It's pretty thick too. But when it comes to audio and video, really important things about audio and video are cabling, right? If you have an entire recording studio with all this outboard gear and everything else like that, you don't want to, start purchasing really cheap cables, because then that may screw up your system. So that's why, when you go into recording studios, you hear guys talk about, hey, they may have bought like a $10,000 piece of gear, but they also spent $500 to $1,000 on cable because they want the correct, proper cables. Even in the photography and videography world, those people would tell you like, well, hey, you have to spend money on the glass, right? So, that's the comparison there. Like audio people, we spend money on, audio video people, we spend money on cabling, and the photography and videography people, they spend money on glass. So I'm okay with that. As a matter of fact, when I do purchase an additional Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, I will be getting another cable for $170, because I don't want anything to happen to my investment. So there you have it, right? So no shade, don't hate on me, but yes, I did spend $170 on a Thunderbolt 4 Apple cable. So that's the setup here. I just wanted to come on and let you know what's going on. Now, the other thing is you do need to like select a specific day when you are going to do these live DJ streams. It's important to create consistency right out the box. If you're like DJing at like Fridays at like 8 p.m., it's got to be Fridays at 8 p.m., right? So I don't want to do a Friday because, I may be going out, I may have like a gig out, so I don't want to I don't want my Fridays and my Saturdays to be locked up just yet. So I'm thinking about a Wednesday, like a Wednesday mid afternoon sort of like set, getting people ready for, happy hour, leaving work. So I was thinking about something like that, maybe like Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, do a 2 hour set, get you up to 3 o'clock because, here in the DMV, we start happy hour at 3 o'clock. So that's what I'm thinking about. But again, everything is fluid. Like, my design, this artistic design, it's not artistic yet, but once I'm done, that's fluid. Um, this DJ setup, it's fluid as well. Sometimes I may do digital DJing, other times I may do straight analog. So it's all fluid. I may have to bring these speakers back over here because if I get the Rodecaster Dual, I need to plug the main output out of the mixer or the controller into the Rodecaster Dual. So I may be able to do that using like maybe the booth output or at least use the main to plug into, the Rodecaster Pro 2 and then maybe use the booth, for like my main speakers. We will see. Well, anyway, I just wanted to pop on and just to give you a quick tour of like my live DJ streaming setup. And again, this whole setup is fluid, so we will see what it looks like, how it evolves over time. So we will see. So stay tuned. Well, there you have it. Until next time, peace.